Hey idiots in Hollywood, stop making cinematic universes. We don't need them. So basically, when I was in London, we were having discussions when we got back from Comic-Con, and we were laughing and joking about how everything nowadays has to be part of a cinematic universe or an expanded universe, whatever you want to call it. Studios have basically looked at the success of the Avengers and the Marvel Cinematic Universe and just thought, so in this video, I'm going to explain to you while cinematic universes can be a good thing depending on the property, most of the time they are just fucking pointless. Like I mentioned just a second ago, the Avengers seems to be the template now for what every studio wants to go with The Mummy and Transformers being some of the latest movie franchises that are going to get the cinematic universe treatment. Or depending on how the box office sales go for those movies, we have to wait and see, but the idea is that they were going to be turned into a cinematic universe. So if they don't, then I don't know, but they were supposed to. Now, when you look at a franchise like Marvel, it does make sense. When you look at the source material for Marvel Comics, it often shows different characters interacting with each other, and then they will team up for something like the Avengers, or the X-Men, or the Defenders, or something like that. Same thing goes with DC. Regardless of what you think of the DC movies, it does logically make sense to have a shared cinematic universe with all of the members of the Justice League. But that doesn't mean that you have to do that with everything, because it isn't justified in the slightest. Looking at the Transformers franchise, that works best when they are an ensemble, because that is what has come before, and it's the best fit for them. Now, with the Transformers movies, yes, they do make a lot of money, but that doesn't mean that they are good films. So instead of worrying about doing a Bumblebee movie, or a Cybertron movie, or a prequel movie, whatever it is that they were planning, how about you focus on doing an actually good Transformers movie first? Because when you look at a character like Bumblebee, yeah, he's fun and he's great and whatnot, but he can't even talk. It'd just end up as the Transformers equivalent of Minions. Despicable Me? Yeah, good film. So was the second one. Minions was crap because we don't understand the little yellow fuckers. And I guess that'd be the same thing with Bumblebee. But that isn't even my main problem. It's not just Transformers, it's looking at other franchises themselves. Because studios seem to be so focused on doing the cinematic universe stuff, they fail to actually make a decent movie in the first place, therefore they're not even going to get to the cinematic universe, which is supposed to be the end game. Iron Man set up the Avengers and the MCU in a natural way. In fact, he wasn't even in the actual movie, it was just in the end credits after. We don't need more movies like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which, to be fair, I'm not going to bash because I probably like it more than most people do, but I have to say that is essentially a 2.5 hour trailer for the Sinister Six. I'd rather just have a decent Spider-Man movie. In fact, that's something that has happened in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's quite a few films that I just think, how about we focus on that character and not worry about what the next film is going to entail? I don't want to see glorified, overly long trailers. It isn't even a good business plan. Unless you have it mapped out properly and you aren't just going to stuff everything in as setup for another movie, then it isn't going to work. Recently, it does seem like a lot of movies, they just can't be their own independent thing. They have to be part of something bigger, and I miss the times when we could just watch a movie for what that movie was. Sometimes movies are just better off as one-offs. Some are good enough so they do deserve a sequel or maybe be part of a trilogy, but it is very rare where I see a movie that is clearly trying to set up a cinematic universe where I think that was actually a good movie. Usually it's half a good movie, half of just what's gonna come later down the line. And sometimes even with prequel movies that are part of a bigger and wider universe, I just feel like they're pointless. Prime example of this is Rogue One. Now, I've already done a video on it, but basically the main reason why I don't like Rogue One is because it's a 2.5 hour movie that just basically wraps up one plot point in A New Hope. Something that could have been easily done in a book or a comic book or maybe even a video game, maybe even in Star Wars Rebels. The latest Mummy movie as well, that has basically just proved why not everything deserves to be a cinematic universe. That was their second attempt to start a monsters universe or Hammer Horror universe. I don't even know what it was, but it was something like that. The first one was Dracula Untold, and now they have The Mummy. Both of them didn't really do that well. Maybe just cut your losses and focus on making a good Dracula movie, and then maybe make a good Mummy movie, and then you can kind of add subtle pieces to them and link them together that way, but don't strive for the cinematic universe. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Just focus on making good, entertaining movies first, and then the cinematic universe, you can work it in from there. I imagine if Iron Man was a box office flop, we wouldn't have the Avengers now. And even though I'm pretty sure they did have a goal to make an Avengers movie and a cinematic universe, I'm willing to bet that when they were making Iron Man, they were focused on making a good Iron Man movie, not a setup for the Avengers. Give us good movies. Don't worry about an expanded universe. Stop making movies that are basically trailers for something else coming up. And then if you do that, you won't have to waste your money on films that no one is interested in seeing. But what do I know? I'm just some dickhead in my bedroom. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you not? Do you like cinematic universes? Do you think we need more of them, less of them? Whatever it is, let me know. If you enjoyed this, make sure you leave a like on it. Subscribe if you want to see more. But until next time, take care of yourselves and goodbye. First one was Dracula. Dracula?